Hello, everybody, and welcome to Arsenal X, Boss Rush's Xbox podcast, where we come to squad up and infiltrate the news. I am here today, Jesse Douglas, the host, and to join me today, just Corey, but it will be hopefully more of us in a squad moving forward here. So.
Just Corey. That's
Yeah.
Thanks, Jesse.
Just Corey today is what
Just
I meant to say. We are going to Stoy. We have talked with Stoy, and he for sure does want to join us, for the most part full time. So
he's just out of town this weekend. So
there's been a lot going on lately. We've missed like 2 weeks of it or one.
I think we've only missed one.
Yeah,
but,
maybe.
I mean, it's we're trying to figure. So the thing is we're trying to figure out a better scheduling thing because we want to make this show live. So probably starting next week, and we're gonna make this show live. We're moving the Boss Rush podcast to Wednesday nights live. And plus we're like gearing up for all this extra content because we're gonna, be moving into a I don't want to say a premium model for extra content. Most of it's gonna be like early access style content for like a Patreon or something. But like we're trying to move everything around. We're trying to get everything set. And we're trying to come up with I want to say like a streamlined model for the base shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of,
yeah.
Because we want to talk about food on the show like the other shows. Like we kind of want to make this more like Crossroads and Power Block, but with the Xbox flair to it and our own kind of personality, right? Because like the thing that we've always talked about, well, not always, but I guess last week on the Boss Rush podcast, at least, is like we want people to know that they're listening to a Boss Rush show just based on like segments and the cadence and everything, but also we want all the shows to have their own feel. And so and Jesse and I talk about this all the time, is Arsenal X is like, it has we have the coolest logo, we have the coolest intro music, and we just want to elevate this show to the other shows like it has been in the past. And so that's the plan, is to get Stoy involved and some other people from the network and guests and stuff. So, starting next week, we're going to be live. We're going to be doing Arsa snacks, or I don't know what we're going to call it. That kind of stuff. And we want community feedback and input and questions and all that stuff, just like the other shows. And we want to bring Arsenal X back up to the level that we know it should be at and can be at. And it's Xbox has the biggest potential to grow right now, and this show has the biggest potential in a lot of different ways, including the fact that Xbox is becoming more popular by the second, it seems like. So
they've been doing a lot of great like promoting and stuff like that, and like that great all for one or whatever that did that fun music video for the Game Pass, the All Access or whatever. All for One or whatever, the old R&B boy band doing that fun commercial. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
So they've been doing a lot of great things lately that have been getting people's attention. So
yeah. But Jesse, do you have any, like, because you're gonna continue hosting the show. We've kind of reached out for some feedback on what you want to see from an Xbox show through Twitter and stuff. But like, you're gonna continue hosting the show.
Yeah.
So like, through the lens of like trying to make a cadence like Power Block and Crossroads, what do you want this show? How do we want to make this show like feel like our own?
Well, like for this, I do want to have, I want to try to have a little bit more fun with it. like I do listen to other podcasts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of the things that I've always loved about, like, when I first started listening, like even to you guys, when you and Ed, were doing Pow Block and stuff, and I've always said, like, for me, my favorite thing about podcasts is when they don't, it's not about editing, it's not about, like, I mean, obviously we want to try to stick to a closer time period of how long we're running the show. We want to try to stay away from 2-hour shows, but
I mean,
but
to be fair though, like if we were only doing one show, I
yeah,
wouldn't mind doing like a Giant Bomb style 3.5 hour show. Like, but
yeah,
we
yeah,
have, I don't want to do that 4 to 6 times a week. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
impractical with our schedules and stuff.
yeah, yeah. So, like, I still want to try to keep it, like, we'll have topics, we'll have things that we're going to talk about. It's, for the most part, that will kind of stay the same, but I want to try to move past certain things faster than in the like, try to, still kind of have things in the news that we talk about, but, like, like, it'll more so just be kind of like fun little things that I'll bring up. We don't really have to sit and talk about, because, honestly, like, I want people to, maybe get some information here. I mean, like we've always said, this people aren't coming here first, I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. There might be people coming for whatever reason, coming here for, or hearing things here first.
Oh, they're
But,
coming here
like,
first.
but I don't know that, like, that everyone that's listening, like, this is the only show they listen to, and they're not going to hear anything if we don't talk about it. So I
Mhm.
do want to still bring up things that I think are important for the Xbox fans, but at the same time, I don't really want to spend too much time on things unless we really feel like, as a group, that it's something that we think we want to talk about more. I do, like the other shows, we will have like a topic or something, like a question, or something that I come up with, or, if you guys have something ever, like, I want it to feel, just be like us having a conversation as friends, talking about something that we're interested in, and have fun with it. I just don't want it to be, feel too produced, I guess,
Yeah.
is the thing. Like, I don't want it to be, like, too strict, or whatever,
You want it to be
like,
more conversational and less checklisty.
yeah, yeah. Which, like I said, like, we'll have checklisty things, but I don't want it to feel that
Right.
way. I want it to be like, hey, I'll bring up a couple of things, and, if any of you have something that you'd like to say about it or whatever, then we'll start a conversation on it. So, it's just kind of, so people that are listening are getting a little bit of information about things, but at the same time, if we decide that that's a talking topic, then we will have a discussion on it, like, kind of like throwing things virtually at a wall, and if something sticks and we talk about it, well, then, that's great for the show. If not, the people that are listening are still getting some information about something that they may not have known about. So,
Right. Yeah.
like, because I'm not going to dig too deep. I'm trying to even set up my notes where, like, all the information that I would need to give someone about this thing, for the most part, is going to be there, other than, like, I may have read some of the stuff. Like, today I got a couple of, topics from Eurogamer, and one from Kotaku, like, something that was brought up that I just thought was kind of interesting, to talk, just to mention. And I know a little bit about it. I didn't write everything I needed to know in my notes or whatever, because I kind of just, know it's in my head or whatever. But,
Yeah.
um, And then yeah, so like that's basically it. Like honestly, it will be a little bit, try to be a little bit more uh planned in some ways than it has been in the past. Like try to get back to making some notes, because there was a couple episodes there where we just kind of wung it, which is fine too. Like we can, we might do that occasionally if we just there's nothing to talk about, but we still want, like have something that we personally wanted to mention or something. So it's going to be pretty laid back and relaxed. I got some just like fun little goofy things that I was gonna do. Like you heard the intro, I changed that up a little bit. I was thinking about trying to, make the intro a little bit more personalized towards the show. Um, and then, there's some, like I said, some fun things because like I said, I do listen to other podcasts, but I like some of my podcasts that I listen to that take up the majority of my time are radio shows.
Hmm.
And I do like that the whole radio show, like and Giant Bomb and stuff even does this too, but I like just like the whole like soundboard and having like goofy things just to make stuff fun, and just kind of that little touch of a just a funny personality kind of thing that isn't really necessarily a big change. It's just, something that, hey, maybe we'll end up laughing at or whatever. And
Hmm.
and just to get the sense of like we're here to talk about Xbox, but we're also here to have fun with it and not try to be some like, buttoned up, news kind of show, like we're watching, MSNBC or something, talking about games. We just want
Yeah.
to be here and have fun with it. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's all I'm shooting for, like, and I think, bringing Stoy on, like it's obvious that he enjoys Xbox as much as we do for the most part. So like, I think once we start getting into this new setup and we kind of start finding our way and, collaborating, if anyone has ideas, like where we want to, do something differently, like I'm what much appreciated any kind of input, and that goes for listeners too. Like if there's some kind of fun goofy segment, like
Yeah.
that you think would be kind of fun, or something like that, people want to email in or message us, like feel free to do it, because like we want that interaction too. Like that's one thing I've always said too, that I do really want there to be some form of interaction with people who are listening, like even if it's just you saying, like saying that you liked something, or like something that you wanted to say about something we talked about. Like that's the kind of stuff that we kind of are hoping we can get, so
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that, this show, it means a lot to us. I just feel like we like always, I mean, we never really found the right footing, and then when we would, it would just like, I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like the show has always changed, and sometimes not in the ways that they should have or we wanted it to. And it's just
Mhm.
it's time to get this show back on the road to where it should be, so
Well, and I think a lot of the changes, I don't think any of the changes were necessarily bad or good. I think it's just like for almost a year now, this show hasn't really had a whole lot of stability as far as the cast goes and stuff like that. Like it's been like me and Ed one day, or me and you one day, or like, or
yeah. And like
we had for a while.
that was my goal with moving the Boss Rush podcast too, is because like this show needs stability, even if it's just two hosts that are the same every week, right? And we bring on
Yeah.
someone different. Now, granted, we already said Stoy's going to be here. mostly weekly unless he's out of town.
Mhm.
But like, you know, that's going to bring in some stability. I know Pat from the XP Cast said he would help out a little bit. I know Antonio said he would come on once in a while. You know, he's been on the show before. Like,
Mhm.
so we've got the pieces in place to move it forward the way we expect it and want it to. We just have to be consistent. You know?
Yeah, and this is kind of the begin. Yeah, this will kind of be
This
where
is like
that starts. You know,
this is
this
like
is
the Phil
ground
Spencer
zero.
takes over Xbox year for, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, I like this show. I've kind of put it in my head that my focus is going to be on like Nintendo stuff and then Game Pass, right? Like that's going to be kind of like my focus, and then obviously
Mhm.
Destiny with Tower Casuals. I need to keep up with that, although the story stuff is pretty easy to keep up with at this point. So that's really
Mhm.
kind of all I really care about now, not having a lot of time. So
Yeah.
but you know, that's where I'm going to try to focus my efforts, you know, and you know, you're going to be obviously the head of this Xbox kind of movement now, and you know, we're going to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to it, you know, because like I would be lying if I didn't say that I wasn't bummed out a little bit about the show, you know, and like how it was going for a bit, just because we didn't really have any focus, like, you know, like I was trying to do what we could to continue the show going, but it was just like it was kind of like in a position where you know, we didn't really know week to week where, you know, like what we were gonna do with it, or you know,
Yeah,
like
and then
how, you know.
there was a point where we actually talked about canceling the Boss Rush podcast and like that
Yeah.
podcast to make sure that this goes, because like I don't know, I've been thinking about it a lot. Like I don't really have time to do 4 shows, but I'm gonna try to make it work at this point, just to,
Mhm.
you know, we got like this show, it's got to be more consistent, and I want to make sure that, you know, you and I are 2 of the 3 founding members of this thing. Like we
Mhm.
gotta, like, you know, I want to be here to make this better. So
Yeah. Well, and you know, and it's just, I think the thing is too is like me and you are kind of in a very similar, you know, situation where we've got, you know, multiple kids now. You know, like it is much different when you go from one kid to having two. I mean, because
yeah,
there's different needs, there's different, you know, like with me, like it's difficult during this time of the year because there's a lot of things like baseball and swimming, and you know, like all those kinds of things that you might want to get your kids into.
yeah, and
And
I'm at
so
the
like,
point where like my kids are on different nap schedules, sleeping schedules.
yep.
You know, sometimes I mean, my daughter is 3 now, and she's like on her own schedule now, pretty much. Like it's just, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
It ends up making this show, unfortunately, sometimes feel like work. But back to what we were talking about in the beginning, you know, like that's why I want to try to turn this back into a time for us to have fun and talk about Xbox, and you know, like give both us and the people listening a chance to just kind of get away from real life for a moment and just, you know, just talk about fun stuff. So
yeah. And it's like it's not even that this show like feels like work. It's just like there's try like having I think having the Boss Rush, like the thing is like we used to record the Boss Rush podcast on Saturdays in the afternoons, and that was like that was, to me, like for this whole thing was like that was like a free 2 or 3 hours that I had in the middle of the day. That was like, this is your freebie time, right? Because you know,
mhm.
my daughter was napping, my wife was like watching a show or making lunch or making phone calls or whatever,
Mhm.
and I was like, this is the time I have allotted for this show. But then like when you have a second kid and he doesn't nap at the same time, and my wife needs help with 2 kids, and it's just like, man,
Yeah.
that like that really, honestly, that really put a wrench in things I was planning. And not that I'm like complaining, I just didn't know, right? Like I just didn't know that's how it was going to go, but
but
that's how it went. And
the nice thing is then they get a little bit older, and then you get into the situation of where that does free back up again, because they've kind of, there's going to be times where, like you try to do stuff with them, but honestly, a lot of times kids just kind of want to do their thing. They get old enough where they want to do their thing, and and then because like I could easily do that time slot, some days, again, there'd be also the times where we want to go do stuff on the weekend as a family, and then that just didn't work out for me, but for the most part,
especially like during the summer.
yeah so like during the summer, definitely these kind of time periods where we're recording now is much easier for me, but there'll definitely be some changes, but I think for the most part, like, we're all kind of wanting to just make this just a little bit more enjoyable and less like newsy kind of show, I think, is probably the most easiest way to say it. We just want it to feel like more like fun. And
and I think that with kind of what we want to do moving forward with bonus content, like I feel like we have a pretty good idea of like, okay, well, we're going to record this show from this time to this time, and then we're going to basically, instead of doing a 2 hour and 15-minute podcast of this, we're going to kind of like split it in two and then make the other one our bonus content and stuff and see what happens with that.
And that'll be stuff we'll have, like, we'll kind of talk about more and as a group and figure out, like what kind of stuff we want to do for the extra content. And that again is where people listening, like, if there's something that you would rather hear in the regular show, or like things like that, topics.
If there's stuff, like segments and topics that anybody wants to hear, like, let's hear them. We want to hear them. We want your input, because we want to make this the best show that we can possibly make it, right? And so that's the goal. That's where we're at. And I don't really have anything else to say about it. I just wanted to get it out of the way and make sure people knew, like, okay, last week we took off because of holiday and all kinds of craziness, but
there's a bunch of stuff going on. I got to go meet Kayla and Jen of the Bad Bitches podcast, and I had went out and did some stuff with my friends. They had a cookout and stuff for the 4th of July and things like that. So
nice.
Had a fun weekend to just kind of. And then even though I had the whole entire house to myself for a week, I still didn't play much games this week. I was doing a lot of sleeping, catching up on sleeping, and taking every moment I could of getting extra sleep, because it just doesn't happen.
I know. I fell asleep twice this weekend, and my wife woke me up both times. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm sleeping. Leave me alone."
Like last night I messaged you about possibly seeing if you wanted to play some Sea of Thieves or something, and then I fell asleep probably like a half an hour later.
I answered you. I was like, I don't know, I got to get my kid to sleep, but then I never heard back. I'm like, well, Jesse's probably sleeping now, so
I fell asleep pretty shortly after I messaged you, because my wife also works sometimes on the weekends now. And she, even though she works until like maybe the latest 1 in the afternoon, that's still though I've still got to wake myself up and make sure the kids get lunch or whatever, and then maybe I can lay back down and sleep for a few more hours, but that doesn't always work out. So I've just never been one who can take naps unless I truly am like super tired, like otherwise I'll just lay there and be thinking of all the other things I could be doing instead of laying down.
Yeah.
So that's how my brain works. So yeah, we'll just kind of leave it, I think, at that, and maybe if Stoy wants to talk a bit about this, or we might even just make the next episode. If we talk about stuff, we'll do that off the show, and then kind of
Yeah. Or we can kind of nail down a plan for the main topic of the show, and then
yeah,
really just say, hey, look, this is the show moving forward. Here's the cadence. Here's the all that stuff. So I feel like we can do that too. But anyways, we can discuss that off the show. This is an Xbox podcast.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, remember that Arsenal X goes up every Tuesday in all your podcast feeds. So, I should say on whatever you listen to your podcasts on.
All of them. All of your podcasts.
Yeah.
Apps.
Yep. Everything that exists, pretty much. Also, don't forget to check out our website and check out our shows like EXPcast, WASD and Beyond, Lore Together, Tower Casuals, 1v1, POW Block, Crossroads, our PlayStation podcast. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff there to listen to. So you basically only have time all week just to listen to our shows.
Yeah, only us.
And then you've also got LAN Party and Trash Talk and all the other great shows in our entertainment section. All right, now this is where some new stuff is going to show up that I was talking about. All right, so let's get into where we talk about what we've been playing. So Corey, what's Arsenal?
I mean, it hasn't been anything exciting. It's been, I've been playing Destiny. I've been trying to catch up. I've been doing a lot of that, just trying to see where the story is going, because the story is getting really crazy in Destiny. If you're super into Destiny, you can check out Tower Casuals for our in-depth talk on what's happening. But basically there's been this season, the story is like a Vex simulation has taken over the city, and it's the endless night in the last city, and you're trying to basically hack into the Matrix to defeat the Vex to release the simulation. And one of the big Vex minds that it's been hinted at in the lore for a few years now, Kira, you end up taking her down in this Vex simulation. It looks like you kill her, but Josh and I have a theory that she's going to come back as a taken Vex mind, and it's going to be a raid boss at some point. So, because there was some pretty, I would say, light raid mechanics, or light different battle mechanics than just pumping a full lead or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so that's happening, and we're prepping for the big reveal of the Witch Queen expansion coming early next year. They're revealing a lot of it on August 24th, so that's going to be a good time. I've been playing a tad of Halo, just because I'm really excited for Halo Infinite, and every time I see something of Halo Infinite, I'm like, I gotta go play Halo. So I've been playing.
You and me both.
Yeah. I actually took the drive out of my Series X and put it in my Series S, because it doesn't fit Destiny, Master Chief Collection, and Halo 5 on that hard drive. So
okay.
So I put it in my Series S and been playing it in here, because I got two 4K monitors in here now. I bought two new monitors.
Nice.
And so while I'm waiting for stuff to process or editing stuff, it's been a nice little time waster. But that's kind of all I've been playing on Xbox. I've been playing Monster Hunter Stories 2 on my Switch, and it's if you enjoy JRPGs at all, this is like I want to say like an adult version of Pokemon, but it's definitely not an adult game, right? It's kids catching
Mhm.
monsters, using monsters to fight each other. It's basically Pokemon.
Yeah.
But it's got deeper mechanics that make it more challenging. It's got like this really basic rock paper scissors system to it, but it's cool. If you have a Switch, I would highly recommend it. Even if you didn't play the first one or you're not into Monster Hunter at all, I would still play it because I don't care about Monster Hunter. Like I know the Ron really wants somebody to be into Monster Hunter around here, but I don't know. I think this would be my gateway into that franchise though, because it's really fun. It's really cool. I like the art style, so I would recommend that. But that's kind of it. Every day I browse through Game Pass. I'm like, I want to play that. I want to play that. I want to play that, and then I end up not playing any of it because, well, all the reasons we talked about at the top of the show, time and kids.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of it too, like, like why we changed Boss Rush the show over, because we want to kind of free up Saturday so we can, hopefully occasionally do things there as well,
like we want to do
if it works out.
We want to do like community game nights for Xbox, like Sea of Thieves or Halo or something, especially when Infinite comes out. We want to do like every other weekend we do a Halo tournament or a party or something, and or like the Sea of Thieves stuff, which I still want to do the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. Jesse, maybe we can
which
maybe
is
like next weekend.
It's a breakout.
Yeah, maybe next weekend, like Saturday night or something,
Mm-hmm.
we can stream it or something. And maybe get somebody from the community involved, and we just kind of do the pirate stuff.
Yeah, like that would be kind of fun. Because I've definitely wanted to go into it. I did hop into it. Well, is that all you've been playing then, you said, right?
Yeah, I mean I got a second job that I've been working a lot lately that I'm trying to like, I'm in that phase, when you get like a new job, you're in that phase where like the first couple of weeks you overwork and you over try to like not impress people, but not to make it look like you're a lazy moron. Pretty much. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that, and it's just been taking up more time than I anticipated. Yeah. Even with that, so I'm working on it, but it's I don't know. I've got a better schedule written out this week, so I should be okay.
All right. But yeah, for as far as like what I've been playing, I saw like kind of going back to what you were talking about. I did hop into Sea of Thieves, but I just I basically was just kind of checking on any kind of like stuff, see like what new things I could buy for like equipment, or like the just the skins of like what like new ship parts and things like that, and it all costs way more than I have in money because I don't really play that often. So but I bought a couple of things, and then I just wanted to see how the whole Pirates of the Caribbean stuff works. And so now it's just, there's 3 different modes of play. There's your traditional just go with friends and go, like do the quests and all those kinds of things. And then there's the Pirates of the Caribbean story mode stuff. And then there's the where people go who want to just go to battle other people. So yeah, I just kind of jumped in to kind of look and see what it looked like, because I had updated and everything, and yeah, I like that it's kind of its own breakout thing for the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. It's like a legit story mode now, so which is awesome. So I didn't touch it because I want us to kind of experience it together, so
yeah. I really want to play it. Like, it just looks cool, and like I love the movie, I love the ride, like all of it is just like I want to play it really bad.
The ride is a nice little touch, because obviously that existed, but they kind of focused on adding the Pirates of the Caribbean kind of stuff to the mix, and made it more focused around that. So, but yeah, because I think the first time, I want to say I don't remember, maybe the first time I went on that ride, I think it was already focused on Pirates of the Caribbean, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember the first time I rode it, and after they did the changes, I was like, oh man, this is like, it's weird. Like, it's so weird when I mean, now it's not weird because it's been that way forever.
Yeah.
But it's just like, man, that's clearly Jack Sparrow, and they're clearly doing it. They're trying their hardest to do this, and
yeah, and make it kid friendly, and not too scary, but it does kind of have, I think it's a little creepy just because of the animatronics and stuff when you start dealing with making people that look realistic moving, but not quite realistically moving.
It throws you off too, because like they're still using the old animatronics from like the 70s and 80s, mixed with like the new within the last 10 years animatronics of like, this really looks like Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow from the movies going up against like these cartoon pirates from the 70s. It's just like, it really kind of, it's still fun, but it's just like, they should have just revamped the whole ride at this point. Like, it just.
Yeah, I think it's probably just came down to how much time do they want that ride to be shut down for.
Yeah.
To make those changes and stuff, and But so I jumped into that, and then I as well have been playing I've been playing a lot lately the Halo 5 multiplayer, and just kind of playing that the Fiesta or whatever mode where it's just pure chaos, and having fun with that. And then I did go back to a little bit more of Yakuza Like a Dragon. I don't put a whole lot of time into those games as much as I'd like to, but like I said, this week was kind of a little weird. I ended up because it's just easier if I'm like trying to go to bed or whatever. A lot of times I would just put something on to watch and lay down, and I watched the Nancy Drew show that's on the CW. I watched the entire season 1 and 2, which I really liked because they had like
did they like CW kind of it up like
kind of? I mean, kind of. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like relationships, and like this person is with this guy, or this guy is with this girl this week, and then next week they're with someone else, or whatever. But like that stuff doesn't bother me. Like I just really like the whole supernatural side of it. Like the ghosts and stuff are actually, I think, potential to be pretty scary to people who don't like horror movies and stuff. Right. Like they have like some pretty creepy looking like ghosts and monsters and things like that are in the show, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I liked the way they kind of took things where like one of the characters like it like gets possessed, and like they've got to like figure out all these things, and they're going through all these like books of like ancient like secrets or like ghosts, and like like I said, it's like almost like Veronica Mars meets I don't know,
the Archie show that's on there or whatever. I always forget what the name of that show is, but summer something.
The Archie's one is
Riverdale.
Riverdale. Yeah, it's like
I said Summerdale. I'm like, that doesn't sound right at all.
It's definitely it's got that feel like Riverdale, or like it's a lot like Veronica Mars, where just because like you've got the main Nancy Drew, who's like this investigator and stuff like that, who since she was a kid would like and did her own investigations, and and like helped find a girl that was missing, and stuff like that. And then she just kind of kept doing that. And it's very similar to Veronica Mars, that show, which I absolutely loved that show back in the day as well.
I don't think I ever watched it.
Yeah, it was
that
very
was
like a
Kristen
CW show.
Yeah, that was Kristen Bell's big breakout role, right?
Yeah. And really, what made that show was just the banter and the chemistry of her and her father's character was just really funny. Like, even though a lot of the topics and things that were going on were kind of somewhat serious, I mean, you're dealing with her trying to figure out who murdered her best friend. And but Kristen Bell and the guy, I forget what his name is, that played her father on the show, just had really, really good chemistry and just made it entertaining and funny at the same time. And this show is very, very similar in the way that they do it. But yeah, so I did a lot of watching stuff this week. Those things. And then today, actually, before the show, which I think I'm going to kind of roll something. One of the things I was going to bring up later on in the show is a game called Blue Fire, which was just recently released on Xbox. And so it is out now. It's only $16 right now. I think the sale might still be on when you guys hear this, but it's like so they showed it. They kind of have been releasing some games reveal trailers and stuff this week, and some other things, and then they just kind of have been putting them out there as well to kind of get more news out or get people to see them. But so Blue Fire, it's like I was saying, is almost like a mix. It's almost like if Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild like mixed together, but then like they had a baby in a From Software world. Like, where it's like, it's difficult, it's kind of a little bit harder of a game, but it has this really, really cool looking like visuals, like art style that they do. Like, it's like a mix of, like I said, of almost like the Wind Waker cell shading kind of stuff, but like done in the world of Breath of the Wild, almost like, where you've got the really light colors and the bright things, but there's also a lot of darkness to the things you're doing. And there is even some like blob stuff that's like black and glowing red that reminds me a lot of the stuff around the Hyrule Castle, or the castle in Breath of the Wild, where the infection, where all that stuff is kind of like laying around on the ground, and you gotta stay away from it so you don't get injured and stuff. And but yeah, so I just jumped in it. Unfortunately, there's some kind of issues with it running on a Series X, like where I could play it, but it was having some screen issues. So I didn't really play a whole lot of it. I do want to see, though, if there's some kind of thing that I just need to turn off or something in my settings, and then it'll be fine. And look more into that. And if I do find out some information, I could even bring it up next week, just in case someone, if they don't want to do the digging to look for that stuff themselves, if it is something they're interested in. So yeah, that's mostly it. I do want to get back into some more Scarlet Nexus, and I actually bought a couple of physical PS4 games the other day that I was gonna probably play tonight. So I got Everybody's Golf, and then I got the last Ratchet and Clank game. So because I haven't played either of those yet, so
yeah,
I haven't played Ratchet and Clank since like PS2. So
yeah. I forgot to say the speaking of stuff that we were watching. I watched the Sonic the Hedgehog movie last
Did you?
night
Okay.
while I was working. It's pretty good actually. Like
I know.
it's fun.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was really fun. It wasn't as like stupid as I thought it was gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
And then we watched the Angry Birds movie tonight because my daughter was like, "Let's watch the Bird movie." I'm like, "Oh God." Not as good.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. It was
Yeah.
it was fine. I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch it again or anything,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
But then after Sonic last night though, Jesse, all of the Underworld movies are on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So I watched the first one again.
God, I haven't watched those in forever.
Dude, the first one came out in 2003.
I know.
God, I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Yeah, because I mean, Christ, actually, I don't even think I've seen all of them because I think there was 4 of them, right?
Yeah, they did the first 2, and then when they were pitching the third movie, Kate Beckinsale didn't want to do the third movie, so they rewrote it as a prequel.
Yeah.
So there's that, and it's all about the story that they kind of explain in the first movie, why the war started.
Yeah.
And then the fourth movie, Kate Beckinsale came back, and it's about her looking for the what's his name, Michael, the love interest from the first movie.
Okay.
And she finds out that when she was captured, she was pregnant with his baby, and that the daughter is the first born hybrid since the original whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Look, I just wanted to watch vampires blow up some werewolves, and it was really fun. So
yeah.
Although I do admit that I know way more about the underworld lore than I care to admit to anybody. So maybe I'll hit Logan up for a Q list.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Terrible.
Well, because I'm pretty sure I haven't ever seen the 4th one at all. So
the 4th one feels like it ended really abruptly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there should have been at least 30 to 40 more minutes of that movie, and it just ends. Because I think they were kind of setting it up, and they only had budget for this, and that if this one did good, that they would film the 5th movie, and they never filmed the 5th movie, which is sad because it could have gone somewhere cool.
Well, which makes me think, was Kate Beckinsale like, yeah, I'll do this one if you pay me this, and they're like, okay, well.
Well, the thing is like her husband or something, her husband or ex-husband or whatever, is the writer and director of all these movies. So, which is funny.
Yeah,
I said I know way too much about Underworld. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like every once in a while I go back and I watch Silver Bullet. That's like one of my favorite werewolf movies, which is the Stephen King book adapted into a movie, but like about this kid who's like in a wheelchair and he has to fight this werewolf and stuff, and it's I don't know. I also like the original Langoliers movie too, and I'm pretty sure I'm Langoliers.
What is that?
That's the one of the earlier Stephen King movies.
Okay.
Really, 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 really bad CGI and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't care. I love it and all of its awful cheesiness, and it's like the whole thing is about this whole entire crew of people on a plane, and they're flying through the air, and it's about the like it's nighttime, and so most people fall asleep, and then they wake up and they're in like wake up and like they go to land places, and Like there's just no one. There's no people, no nothing. The entire world is abandoned. They're the only ones that still exist. And I think there's something early on in it where when they wake up, like some of the people that were on the plane are gone too or something. And I think it's only the people that were asleep were still alive or something like that. But yeah, so I don't know. I love the story. It is really cheesy and really bad visually, but I don't care. It's like I love the whole concept of the story, and I'm not about to read the book anytime soon, so the movie was perfectly fine, well enough for me, but all right. Shall we get into Xbox stuff?
I guess. I mean, I'm having. Okay. I forgot to say, I actually jumped back into with all the NetherRealm stuff going around that they might get sold and not sold, and we kind of confirmed in one of the chats that we were in, somebody on our team knows somebody that works at NetherRealm, and it seems like they're not selling, or that they're not allowed to say that they're selling, but it looked pretty much like they're not selling, so this rumor is kind of just out there or whatever. But I actually went back and played a little bit of Mortal Kombat 11 and Injustice. And
nice.
Man, I know the rumor is they're working on a Marvel game, but I really want an Injustice 3.
Yeah.
Even though, or like my dream would be that they do a Turtles tournament fighter, but that's a pipe dream at this point. But but the Turtles are so cool in that game. I really hope they bring them back for Injustice 3 because they're just so cool.
Yeah. Like we've talked about this before, but like anytime this comes up, my brain just starts going. But like we've talked about, like especially with all the adaptations of the cartoons and everything that we've gotten over the years, like there is a long list of characters that they could easily put in this game to play as in a fighting game type thing. I mean, like honestly, I think there's more characters in the Turtles universe that exists alone than there are in the entire universe of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's so many toys when we were younger.
We've talked about that a lot. Where they could totally just they could do Leatherhead, they could do the Rat King, they could do the Pizza Aliens, they could do Shredder, Tatsu, they could they could do so.
They have those frog characters that you can buy right now at Target. I forget what their names were. They've got the Triceratops characters that you could play as. They've got there's so many different crazy characters.
Bebop, Rocksteady, Toko, Razor,
Super Shredder.
Yeah, the prehistoric turtle? What's his name? Slash, Metalhead, Krang,
Baxter.
You could even do Casey Jones or
well, and technically, if you go by the comic books, not that they would be great as fighting characters, but the Turtles team up with the Ghostbusters.
You could
teamed up with Batman.
You could put Batman. You could literally put Batman in there, and it'd be like, oh, well, this makes sense because they've done this, and they could the girl turtle they just introduced in the comics, not the one from Next Mutation, the bad one, but the cool one that's in the comics right now.
Yeah.
They could do so much.
There's so many things because that was the whole thing, is having the mutation ooze stuff. They're literally every single animal or thing that exists could basically become a character. I know, and I'm excited for the new Turtles game that will be coming out eventually here soon. Too.
That'd be so cool too. Like I want that game so bad. I hope it's good. I really hope that game
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. All it needs to be as good as is it Streets of Rage 4 that came out? Like
Mhm.
that game was good. Like uh it was, like it was not bad like at all. So like I think it definitely looks promising just from what we've seen. Like it looks like they've taken some of the fun, things that we loved about the Turtles in Time game and stuff, where like when you throw characters it can go smashing towards the screen and things like that, and just all those little fan favorite things that have existed in those beat 'em up games that we've had in the past. It seems like they kind of are trying to make sure they keep a lot of that what made those games fun in it. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But
So that's I also jump back into those, and they're really cool, especially like Mortal Kombat 2 with the guest characters. Like they've just always done so well with those guest characters that it's like,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I mean, it's like McFarlane level detail of the characters, right? Like the McFarlane,
Hmm.
like toys, like it basically it doesn't get better than that. Like when it comes to really getting the detail of what makes that character, look the way they do, and on the screen or whatever. And yeah,
Yeah.
like they do just such a good job of that. It's awesome. Like it's almost like you wonder, like, do they like get people in those like make those full on suits and then make them wear it and capture it in real life, like they used to do,
Yeah.
capture real life video footage and then like use that, actual real live capture as the character model. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how good they do that. It's crazy. Like even the
Yeah.
turtle ones, they look so much like the movie Turtles, like
Yeah. Or
those
like,
actual outfits.
well, I mean, it's not that they look like the movie turtles. They look like if they were to do the turtle suits in a modern context.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I actually liked the Michael Bay produced ones. Like
yeah,
especially the second one was really good, I thought.
yeah,
And I really wish they would have made a sequel to that. But there's just something about those original movies, right? I mean, this is how people get about, this is how I imagine people get about movies like The Goonies or the original Superman movies or
hmm,
89 Batman or whatever, or you with Ghostbusters to an extent,
yeah,
right? Like
hmm,
that, original Turtles movie is that movie for me, where
yeah,
like anything that came after, just to, for the sake of conversation, after that third movie, even though the third movie is not very good, like that first movie, and even the first movie is my favorite, but I
hmm,
mean, even after that that third movie, like anything that came after that, I was always like kind of disappointed,
hmm,
and it's like, well, they really haven't hit that level of just like they're I don't really know how to describe it, but anyways, in the game, they look like if they were to go back and do that first movie with costumes and practical effects and maybe light CG or uh just to clean up some things or whatever, like that's what those turtles look like, and they look really good. And the fact that you can like customize them and change their gear to make them do certain things and their weapons, and they look different but they look cool, like it's just it was so cool.
yeah, yeah. And like part of me almost wishes that like DC somehow owned a portion, like the comic book portion of them, or like because like I would love to see the like DC style animated movies
Mm-hmm.
take on the turtles, and do something with that, because like like it is what it is with their live action movies. They're kind of been hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it comes to the DC like animated films, they're like second to none in my opinion as far as, comic book stuff goes. Like I just absolutely love their animated movies, but I would love to see a Turtles animated DC movie, like with the, even if it was Batman and the Turtles, like doing stuff like more, because I think they do have one, don't they, technically?
What?
I
Animated?
can't. Yeah, did they do an animated film? Yeah, didn't they do an
It's the
animated?
fourth movie.
Yeah.
It's the animated movie, the 2007 animated movie that's technically a sequel to the third live action movie.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it's not that good, to be completely honest. It's fine. It's not great. So I don't know.
Well, I was trying to think. Did they make though a Batman Turtles animated film
Yeah,
though?
there's
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something animated that they did. I think it's like a 6 episode series, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Okay, yeah, because I know there was I was pretty sure that there was at least one, but yeah, because I would just like to see more of that even, but
Yeah.
yeah. So all right, why don't we get into the Arson news?
Let's
All
do
right.
it. Arson
Yes.
News.
So again, these are just going to be a couple things I just wanted to kind of inform people about, but we're not going to spend too much time on it. So, all right, Psychonauts 2 will feature an individual toggle to enable all ages, all possible needs to enjoy the game. So this is from Eurogamer, a thing I read, from them. So it is what it is, like what they said. Essentially, they're gonna have it so to help, people, either younger kids or, people with disabilities possibly, or whatever, to make sure that anyone who's interested in experiencing this story will be able to, which is always a great thing, like
Mm-hmm.
not everyone's, an expert at playing games, but they still want to, get the story. So, and then the next thing, also from Eurogamer, is Battlefield 2042 announced a new mode that we will be seeing on July 22nd at the EA Play event. So they promised it's going to be something that's going to be big for fans, and it sounds like they're going to be doing the whole like Call of Duty or even like Halo thing, where they're going to be bringing other maps from other games into it that are fan favorites or something like that. It sounds like. So that'll be kind of cool, like seeing some of these old maps, in a more modern setting and an update. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. So yeah, July 22nd is the EA Play event. So definitely be looking forward to that. See if there's anything good there worth checking out.
Yeah, let's hope. Like I I hate how they're using the whole month of July to announce stuff though.
Yeah.
Like it's just really bothersome. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like the FIFA stuff was kind of announced today, but like, why do you need a whole month? Do you really have that much that you need to announce? Like, I mean, I get that maybe like once every couple days you want to like maybe release some information on one game, but wouldn't it make sense just to like get it all out there? I don't know.
Yeah, or if they're going to have an event, like, talk about it in the event. But yeah, it is kind of weird, because it's kind of like what the majority of people said last year they hated about the way everything was done, with not having an E3, and them kind of just, like spreading it out over, the whole rest of the year. And it just was kind of annoying, because it was like, people like to just have to be able to sit down and say, hey, today there's this event's going on, everything I'm going to need to know, for the most part, will happen that day. I can consume it, and then if you want to give us more details down the road about those things that we learned about, that's fine too, to keep the news, going. But to be just kind of randomly dishing stuff out throughout a month, and I just feel like it's so easy for things to get lost in everything else that's going on if you spread it out too much. And that's the thing, like, honestly, other than sitting down and like checking out the Xbox YouTube, there's some stuff I wouldn't have even heard about because it just kind of was randomly announced, one day, and I missed it. So I just would, rather they do it all at once, and then if they want to give more information as time goes on, that's fine. But, yeah, because that's kind of what we didn't like about last year's news, for everything, is it was just too crazy and spread out, and hard to figure out what we're missing, or what what's coming, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is so Deathloop, got a new like reveal trailer, I guess, at the PlayStation, the what is it called? State of Play or whatever. I didn't get a chance to watch that yet.
I mean, it looks fine. Like, I mean, it looks like a game that will fit nicely in Game Pass, and something I will never play because I don't really care about those kinds of games, right? Like, but the people who are into it are like really into it. So again, like, Arcane makes really good those types of games.
Yeah.
But I don't like those kinds of games. So I mean, it's kind of like, okay, that's good job.
Yeah. So Kotaku actually like, because there was some fine print like messaging at the bottom of the screen at one point when they were showing it, and that fine print, they figured out that it talked about something about the exclusivity, and so we found out that that the Xbox, that it will be on Xbox September 14th of 2020. So it's a year exclusive, which I think we kind of already predicted. It's the other one that's going to be less, right? The other games.
I thought they said Ghostwire Tokyo is going to be 3 months, but I looked it up the other day. It still says a year. Now, okay. I got this from just like a quick Wikipedia search, so I don't know how accurate that is, but it seems like they're both going to be a year, which is, that's fine. Whatever.
Because
I mean, look, to be honest, I think most generalized Xbox fans would rather have stuff like Starfield and the next Doom and Wolfenstein and Indiana Jones than Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm not saying that because these games look great, right? Like, I just think that those games have a bigger reach than these games.
Yeah. And it's, and honestly, like, they're newer IP, so like, like, there is going to be a lot of people who may be disappointed that they can't have them right away on their Xbox. But at the same time, like, we'll also be able to see how well they fare up, and like, for all we know, when it does get released on Xbox, they might have content that will be added to it or whatever that we'll get to have day one for free.
Yeah, like they could bring like whatever the Game of the Year edition or special, like all the DLC could come to the Xbox version or whatever, like that kind of stuff. Plus, I think before we even get Ghostwire Tokyo or Deathloop, we'll probably have Redfall by then, which is their vampire game that does similar things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think people are looking forward to that a lot more than
I think, and that's the thing, like they've said that we haven't even really seen everything yet that they have going on, like, right? Like, I'm sure we're going to learn a lot more during the OX or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But like, there's already, like, a lot of content that we have that we know about, and things that are coming out in that time frame of when those games will come out. So yeah, it's definitely not like we're not gonna have anything, like we're gonna be in desperate need of those two titles to help fill out the years. And so, like, yeah, like, that's the thing, is they're in a good enough spot, I feel like, where we've still got plenty of content even without those games
Mm-hmm.
coming out. So there's not a whole lot to worry about as far as that goes, in my opinion. But, and like I said, I still think there's stuff that we need to see more about. I mean, we've got like, at least like two or three games that we've heard about, a while ago, and we've never gotten any more follow up on them. So, State of Decay and stuff like that, and, like, so there's still plenty of stuff to look forward to, and I think a lot of people are really looking forward to State of Decay 3 and seeing what they're going to do with that moving forward, because this, I think, will technically be the first one with a, like, full on Microsoft budget. So yeah, that's going to be exciting, because I really, really want to love those games, and I did love the first one. There was just a little bit of a change in the second one, like, that I didn't care for, but I'm still looking forward to it, like, it's still something I want to experience, right? Like, and I think it's something that we could definitely do, as, like, I think is part of the reason why I don't like the second one, is because I feel like it's a little bit more co-op based than the first one was. Like,
I like what I want to see from those games is, like, a bigger budget and, like, a bigger, whatever from it, right? But, like, I want to see, like, I want it to be a high budget single player survival game that you can play with your friends, kind of like almost like what Grounded is to an extent, or just something you can play by yourself if you want, but if your friends jump in, like, it's not going to ruin your experience, or like, because, like, sometimes those games too are balanced to, like, if you're playing by yourself, they're balanced for you to play with people, and it's like, well, sometimes people don't have the chance to play with people.
And I feel like that's what they did a little too much off balance of single, and it's balanced more towards the multiplayer aspect of that game in the second one. Because, like, the one thing I honestly, that if they were to change, or even in some ways, I don't think they could get rid of it completely, but I did not like the system around the having to supply your place, your area, with those bags of the duffel bags of, like, the food and ammunition, and those things that you were having to constantly refill, that are constantly depleting, and rely your base relied way too much on those being filled, and if you overfilled them, you would lose quicker, and I just really did not like that constant battle with keeping those filled. I felt like it took too much away from the exploration, because you could never really truly just be out and exploring, because you'd always have to be worrying about going back to your base and making sure that stuff was restocked. And sometimes it was difficult to go far away places once you've emptied all the resources close by. Now you're having to go out farther, and and then it's getting, get more difficult. I think the part of the problem too is, I think there is a real like a strategy that you need to know to that game to be able to play it and enjoy it. And I
There's
just
definitely
did not figure it out.
yeah, there's
So
definitely like this is what you should do first, this is what you should do second. You know, and there's definitely that type of hook and feel to it. Which I mean, they know they don't tell you anything in that game, but like it really feels that way where like you should probably build like a medical facility first or whatever, right? Or you should, I don't know. It just, that game, it has a lot of cool ideas, and I think that this could be the one where they're like, hey, let's just make sure all these ideas just get fleshed out and do it right this time.
I'm definitely hoping to see a little bit more of a change from it, and I'm gonna support it either way because I do like that franchise a lot. But there was just some changes that were made in the second one that I didn't really care for, but it still was fun to play, especially with friends and stuff. But
I also hope they take away like at least like the pre-built characters, you know?
Yeah.
I would love them to just let you make your own character, even if it's like they could go the Mass Effect route where like they give you like you can pick your archetype character, but then just create your character based on that archetype, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think what they at least give you the option over time to kind of build and upgrade your character towards the direction you wanted to, like the people that you picked up. But yeah, I think there is a lot of that stuff that's in there, but there's so many systems and things going on that it can get really easy if you're not a hardcore player of that game where like that's your game to play all the time kind of thing, where it can get difficult if you don't dump a lot of time into it.
Right.
And and I don't know, even if it was just like they had two different ways of playing it, like a mode you could play where your characters could still like the character that you build in the single player mode, that's more like campaigny, like that characters could come over into the the other mode that's more towards co-op stuff or whatever. Like I don't know, like that would probably almost be too much, but like just thinking of like a way that you could have kind of the same like what they've done, but also have something that's easier to play solo.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they could totally, I mean, they don't necessarily have to staff up to do that, right? Like they could just like take their time. They've got Microsoft money. They don't need to like like
for
they
sure.
don't have like a time limit at this point, right? They've got so many other studios doing so many other cool things that like just take your time and make the game that I feel like they could make, because they have the potential to make something great out of that game. Especially with like the rise of survival horror again, and like survival games are popular. Like if they could mix the two they could definitely just do something really cool. So
well, and like they've like as many, like it's honestly like that. I think that's what was so surprising about like when that game did come out. Like even though we have so many zombie games like for years now, like since like forever, that there's been so many different zombie games made, but they still managed to figure out a game that like was unique to like what they were trying to do, like in a lot of ways. I mean, there are like there are some games that have similar ideas and things like that, but they really made those games their own thing and stand out enough. And maybe and maybe that's part of why some of the stuff they've done, just because they're like, well, none of these games are doing this or that, and so like this is kind of what our identity is tied to. But like I feel like the way they've mixed that game and they've made it, I think they could change and tweak some of those things and still not lose their identity, right? Like
Yeah.
there's still a lot that makes it stand out, and honestly, like, when you had things like what is it, the whatever island, and those games that more of those are coming out now, Dead by Daylight or whatever,
Yeah.
like the
Like the
stuff that's
4v1 and stuff.
yeah, like there's all kinds of like things out there, but I feel like they still have managed to find their own unique path in that genre that's been like,
Yeah.
well,
I mean,
for
there's nothing
long.
else. There's nothing else really like it on like a triple, or I guess not really a triple A, but like a double A or
Yeah.
first party style, like something like that. There's just not.
Yeah.
Which gives them all the room in the world to grow at this point.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
I'm hoping we learn more about that game during EXO or whatever.
yeah,
So, or OX. I always forget. Is it OX or EXO?
it's EXO.
Yeah, EXO. I'm like, is it OX or EXO? But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the news. And then just this is the extra content. So again, really quick, we got a couple of games that they posted release trailer things for on the Xbox YouTube page, and one of them that I'm really excited for that comes out next month is Steel Rising. So yeah, this comes out next month. They haven't given a specific date yet, so I mean there is a possibility, I guess it could be delayed. But this is like a almost like a mix between like a it's more like the Bloodborne game, but
Mm.
but the main protagonist is like a chick that kind of reminds me of almost something like from a Bayonetta or something, with just a really funky outfits and kind of weird kind of like emo-ish kind of style of look, in some ways, like similar to something like in a
What is this
near
game called?
Steel Rising.
Like
So it's
STEEL?
yep. Yeah, and it's like this main chick character, and she's got these fans, like like Japanese style big fan things that she can put together and use to make a shield, or like she can deflect things, but then she also has like, I think, a swords, or like different kinds of weapons like that. It very much looks like a Bloodborne kind of game.
Oh yeah,
But
this is totally. If you told me From Software made this, I would have totally believed you.
yeah,
It's like a steampunk robot tech. It's like a steampunk technology robot Dark Souls-y type game.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
this is totally Dark Souls, dude. This is totally a Souls game.
yeah. Like I think more like Bloodborne though, like where it's like some of the characters look like that old style futurist, or not, well, futuristic, but like in an old timey kind of setting kind of way. But yeah, like I'm really interested in this game. It looks really interesting. I like that it's a female protagonist, because I feel like a lot of times it tends to be a male protagonist or whatever, but it's kind of gives me those vibes of like kind of the same reason why I really got into Scarlet Nexus. Like it's that really weird, just interesting kind of look that's just intriguing and makes me want to learn more about it. The other game.
Did you like Scarlet Nexus, by the
Oh
way?
yeah, I absolutely love that game. I need to put more time into it again this week. Is just, but I think I did play it for a little bit at some point this week, but not very long. But yeah, I absolutely love that game. I like I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more time consuming than a type of game that I normally would be willing to take on.
Mhm.
But I'm just liking it so much that I just gotta push myself to continue playing it, and not put it off, because I really like what they do in that game, and the art style, and just the fighting mechanics and all that stuff are just too much fun. So yeah, because it's just really easy for me to get distracted from
Yeah.
games like that, but I really want to push myself to try to finish that game, because I'm interested in what it's doing. So, but yeah, I like, it's honestly, it's one of those games where, like, even, like I've said a million times, it's not normally a kind of game that I would be the first one to be interested in, but like I've been highly recommending it to people to give it a shot. Like I said, there's a demo out there, a free demo of it still available, I believe, on Xbox, the Xbox store in their demo section or whatever. So definitely go try it, and see what you think, because it gives you a good slice of the game to really experiment with the mechanics and stuff that you're using when you're in battle. So if you like what you play in that, it's going to just be that plus even more if you play the regular game. So, but yeah, the next game that we got a release trailer of, and like I guess like the fan base for this game is going pretty crazy, like they're excited for it. But the Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown game, so like I guess this is gonna be kind of doing like what they do in the Horizon games
Mm-hmm.
and the Forza Horizon games, but even more
Yeah.
interaction with like community and stuff like that than you get
Yeah.
in those games.
Have you never played a test drive game? It's clearly the inspiration for Forza Horizon. I
Yeah,
mean, they've been out since PS1, I think, or
yeah,
PS2 at
yeah.
least. So
I've played them. But I guess it's been a long time since we had one. I think it's been 10 years since the last one came out,
yeah, I'm pretty
something
sure
like
the
that.
last one that came out was on PS3 and Xbox 360. So
Yeah, so like I guess people are super excited for this, because yeah, it has been so long, and now with this newer technology and stuff in the new consoles, they'll be able to really do a lot of those things that they've been wanting to do, and be able to do it even better. So I'm legitimately interested, and see, because I think I have played these games, but I don't think I've played one since like PS2 or
yeah,
something. I because I don't think I played the one on 360, because I'll be honest, like during the 360 era was when I was kind of more into the FPS games,
hmm
whereas the PS2 era is when I was really into the driving games and stuff like that, and PS1, PS2. I would
yeah,
be playing like the F1 games, and you
like
name it. I was
Gran
playing racing
Turismo
games.
3. I was like
Yeah,
really into.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was during that time when I was playing those games. Yeah, the Gran Turismo games and all that. But so yeah, like they gave us a good trailer, like a cool looking trailer of it, and kind of, you know, there's some more stuff out there. I think you can see where they show off some of the stuff, some other stuff, but I could be wrong. And then the other one is the game that I mentioned at the start, Blue Fire, which is already out on Xbox. Yeah, it's interesting. I want to figure it out. Hopefully, some of that stuff gets fixed. And then the last one is Tales of Arise,
Yes,
which looks very interesting, and I want to know a little bit more about. So, is
I'm
that
really excited for Tales of Arise. I like the Tales series a lot. especially because like Xbox actually had an exclusive Tales game on the 360, like when they were trying to get all those, they had Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. I think the one Tales game, at least here, because it came out on PS3 in Japan but never came out on PS3 here, was Tales of Vesperia, which actually just re-released. There's a remastered edition. I think it's on Game Pass actually.
I think so. I'm pretty sure it is.
So that's on Game Pass, and Tales of Arise looks really great. This is the first time that the series producer hasn't directed this game. He's moved on. I don't think he works for that team anymore. It's going more action RPG oriented, which I think is great. I think when you take a long running franchise like that, and I don't know, I used to be really into JRPGs a lot, and then I kind of moved more into like the action RPG and just like straight up action games the older I got, just because I needed more of that almost instant gratification almost, moving into like Gears and Destiny and Halo, and then you go to action RPGs, just I would rather be playing an action RPG, to be honest, and the fact that Tales is kind of evolving with that mindset seems really cool, and I'm excited, and it looks great. It looks awesome.
Yeah, well, and I think the thing is like, like look at how well it's worked for like the Final Fantasy franchise to move into more of an action,
right,
kind of style, and and especially when you have games like Octopath Traveler and all these, like old school, trying to take that old school style but give it a more modern look. Like I feel like there's still a place for those original JRPG, style games, and it's like kind of been passed on to that. Like I think it'd be good for that stuff to kind of still be offered through those kind of games, and then like these ones that are trying to do the full like really detailed character models and stuff, like be more of an action RPG game. And I think like it just seems like the proper evolution of it, like that's, like I said, like Final Fantasy has been basically has done that evolution into action RPG now. And I think that's kind of like, now there's kind of a new group of people who really enjoy that kind of stuff, and it's just a way to bring those old games into a new group of people to be interested in playing it. Because I'll be honest, like with it being more action RPG, I'm much more likely to give it a really good try and be interested in it versus an old school JRPG, because I think I'm kind of in the same boat as you on that kind of stuff. Is it's just I don't like the whole like, do pick, like choose what you're gonna do and then just sit back and let them do it. I wanna be the one to be able to do it, and maybe like like this move would have been better at this point, and I can figure all that stuff out on my own, and do it in real time versus, oh well, maybe I should have picked this move last time instead of this one or whatever.
Yeah, plus like I don't know if you watched any of the gameplay of this either, but like you can, like, not only is it like an action RPG, but you can use like the D-pad has your party members attached to each button on the D-pad.
Okay.
Where you can actually do like cool combos and stuff by switching to different characters and stuff. So it looks really cool. I would recommend.
That's promising. Yeah, because that's how Scarlet Nexus is. Like, I mean, like, not necessarily like that you make the character do stuff by pushing that, but when you push the directionals, it gives you options of, adding elements to your attacks and stuff like that, because your characters kind of fight with you somewhat. Yeah, Scarlet Nexus, man, that game is so much fun. Like I the last time I played, I'm in a part where there's these creatures that move like super fast, and so I have to use my party members' ability to slow down time so I can actually attack them. So I'm as
Right.
fast as they are, and it's just so fun, dude. Like I just love the way they mix that stuff. And if it's anything like has any kind of just a slight feel of that game in Tales of Arise, I'm definitely interested in checking it out.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, Scarlet Nexus has really like opened up my interest to more stuff like this. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's pretty much it for those. So we'll get to the final topic here to end the show. So this this topic, this question I came up with, I'll be honest, is inspired from some of the news. Like there's been a lot of different news outlets and stuff talking about this, and a lot of developers who have not been uh enjoying for some time now, it sounds like the way that the store works on PlayStation,
Yeah.
for indies and stuff, really making it hard for the indies to promote or get their own content out there. And it seems like they just really have been disappointed for some time. So I wanted to, focus on the Microsoft side. So my question was, does Microsoft need to focus more on promoting indie games, or do you think they're already doing a great job of it? And and also, like, what are some things that they could be doing better for indie games, if you had any ideas?
Well, I think I almost think like if you're a Game Pass subscriber, that's almost built in for you, right? And
Yeah.
I haven't really been on a PlayStation store in a while, but I do know from what I was using on the PlayStation 4 compared to what Xbox does is like they do a better job. Like when you're looking for a new game on PlayStation, like Sony's games are front and center all the time. And
Yeah.
granted, Xbox doesn't really have like a major title coming out soon or anything, right?
Hmm.
Like, but they always have other people's games in their rotation, right? Like, I
Hmm.
get that you have to pay for spots and whatever. Like, Ubisoft games are always in the top spot all the time because Ubisoft has like buttloads of money from selling big games and microtransactions and stuff, whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, but they do a great job of if you go in, right, you look at your game or a game you're interested in buying, you go all the way down, they have games recommended for you. That actually does a really decent job of including a lot of indies. There's indie sales all the time. Games with Gold always has, or deals with Gold always has a bunch of indies. There's an ID at Xbox section on the store, right? Which is like, well, here's your indie games, ID at Xbox, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh, so I think Xbox automatically has systems in place to uh, do that automatically. Now, I know a lot of people were frustrated that like you have to pay $25,000 to get your thing on the store or whatever, but that like from what I've been hearing, that's pretty standard actually across the board.
Hmm.
It's just that the PlayStation store is so poorly designed that like it just you can't include that many games on your ad fronts, right? You include
Yeah.
probably the biggest games or whatever games you've agreed to promote, and then that's kind of it, you know.
Yeah.
I heard stories of like when Hitman 3 came out, like Hitman 3 was nowhere. You actually had to physically search for it to purchase it digitally, um, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Hitman 3 was so big.
Yeah. Well, and like one of the things that was brought up, about the PlayStation Store is they don't have any control over sales or anything. Like the Sony is the one who ultimately decides what's on sale, and when it's
Mhm.
on sale and how much it's on sale for, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
So that's, I mean, that's honestly, that's crazy. I mean, that's how anyone like on Nintendo basically on Switch gets their game out there, because it's it's always on sale. They,
Right.
they'll put them they'll mark it at some price that they know they're never gonna ask for it, and then just have it always on sale. Like which, I mean, maybe there's some flaws to that system as well, but I mean, it's like it's a smart way to get your game visible, like, I
Right.
mean, to be able to put it on sale is a lot of the times, where people are going to see your game, and if you don't have that option to at least, occasionally put it on sale when you want to, yeah, that, I mean, that does take away a lot of control from the developers. And and like, I think that's one thing I really like about Xbox's store too, is like the sales stuff. Like a lot of the times they'll have multiple sales going on, and they'll try to break them up into different things to almost give more games that are on sale visibility without getting lost in too big of a collection of them.
Hmm.
Sometimes like they'll have a breakout thing where it's like just the games that are 50% off are in this section, and just the ones that are more, which are usually only like 3 or 4 games, they'll have in their own section, to make sure that everything's visible and not being lost in a big long list of games that are on sale. Like, I do like some of the ways that they do that kind of stuff. Um, like, as far as like, one of the things though, I do think that they could do better, and part of this I think is on kind of would have to be with the people that are making these games. And I think we do have a lot better than what we've had in at least the last console generation. I do think that they could try to get more demos of games, that,
Hmm.
indie games, like give people a chance to try these games that they know, like, because I mean, we do have obviously Game Pass, where a lot of these indie games will go to, and that's a less risky way to be able to try these games before you buy it, right? but but I still like, that's still locked though behind a paywall, and I do think it would be cool to have more demos of indie games for people who don't have Game Pass to be able to play as well.
Right.
Like, honestly, that's the only thing I could think of, is like just having some more like options out there of people being able to see what these games are about. Because like, trailers, we've learned, over the years, can either make a game look way better than it is, or can you just not, completely sell the game short, and just be way better of a game than what the trailer is showing off.
Hmm.
Like, so, any way that you can give people a chance. I would like to see more games in the preview program and stuff as well. Like, I would like to see more of that kind of stuff too. Um, because there's really, I think, maybe at any given time, like 1 or 2 games in the preview program that you can play the early, access version of. I wouldn't mind seeing some more of that moving forward too, kind of give you more of that PC experience,
Yeah.
because, Steam at any given time, like, there's so many different preview games you can play that are in like a early access, and I think for them to focus a little bit more on early access would definitely be a much appreciated, feature for everyone moving forward, and that would
Yeah.
help get people to see some of these more indie games that don't have a whole lot of money maybe to get out there.
Yeah. Yeah, demos would be a good thing, I think. Demos, especially like, I mean, look how well Tunic did, or look how well, like, I just feel like games with demos get a lot more attention on them, right? Like when
Mm-hmm.
Xbox did that big thing for E3 or Summer Game Fest or whichever one they released all those demos of for those couple weeks. Like, look how many games they got in front of people, and how many of those games wouldn't have. I mean, how many of those games sold more copies like when that game comes out for real? Did they sell because of those demos, right? Like, I know demos are kind of like a lot of work, especially for bigger games, but like, is it worth the work to put those in? And like,
Yeah.
I feel like releasing a demo can't really hurt your game. I feel like in a lot of ways it can only help.
Yeah. Well, and I think like when it comes down to paying for to get your name out there and get more visual stuff, like even if they were to do like have that program side of that program where like we know like you're a very very small developer and you guys do not have a lot of money, so if you give us a good demo of your game for us to put up on our store or whatever, um then that's almost like payment for getting getting the chance to have your game out there and have more people be able to experience it and see if it's something that they're interested in.
Yeah.
Like because like to me that would almost be like free advertisement. Like
Yeah.
you put in that time to make that thing, yeah, but you're also not having to pay any actual money to get that advertisement. That'll just be there for people to be able to play, like if they could do it in that way. I don't really know exactly how that works. I'm guessing that usually demos aren't something they have to really pay to get put in the store. I don't know. I don't really know how that works, but yeah, like yeah, because honestly, I think Microsoft has been doing a really good job of turning that around. Because I mean, like last generation of console, that just really was not very well done. Like it was, the focus on indie stuff wasn't really there, and it seems like they've been trying to turn that around quite a bit. But like it's not the games of the summer of games or whatever kind of thing that they used to do. But the idea at Xbox, I think there's a lot more going on in the background that we don't notice, that's
Mm-hmm.
helping indies out. um but yeah, I think like I think they're definitely trying to do that, trying to be better at that stuff. But I do think there are some things that hopefully we'll see more happen with indie stuff to get push,
Yeah.
get that push that they need. So
Yeah. I mean, I think overall, just to kind of put a bow on my thought, is like, I think Xbox is doing a way better job than other platforms. Like, you look at Nintendo, the Nintendo store is just a mess, right? Like, it's just like,
yeah.
oh, here's a few featured titles, right? That, like, I don't know if they get, it's like Fortnite and Tony Hawk are like the only games on there that aren't Nintendo related, right? Like,
Hmm.
Overwatch and Apex Legends are on the featured. Give me a break. Like, those games don't need that stuff, especially on Nintendo. I think the smallest, like, I don't know. It just seems like all the games on the featured store are like, like, the only indie game is Chris Tales, which is that side-scrolling JRPG. I think it's on Game Pass too.
Yeah.
Uh, which, don't get me wrong, that game looks really cool. But like, That's the only indie game on the featured section, and then everywhere else, it's like, oh, recent releases, and they just go by order of release date, And if you
Yeah.
don't catch the game in like the first 2 or 3 days, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So overall, I think Xbox is the best at promoting indies right now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And Game Pass pretty much has it built in. If there's like great indies you want to play or decent indies, I think Game Pass has the promotion built in already. So yeah, I think Xbox is actually handling it the best, which is weird. Because at the beginning of the Xbox One PlayStation generation, PlayStation was actually the place to go for indies.
Mm-hmm.
And Nintendo's handheld stuff has the potential to. I mean, I know a lot of indies sell great on Switch because of the portability, but like Nintendo could be. I feel like if they just put a little bit of effort into promoting some indies, they would sell 10 times more indies than they're selling now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like they do they would do their Nindy stuff, but wasn't there even talk about them not really doing that anymore? The Nindy showcase stuff?
I think they did one earlier this year.
Yeah.
They're definitely seem to be doing them less frequent. I don't know if that's a COVID thing or just like okay, Nintendo has a lot of things to promote now, so we're going to kind of hold off on the indie things. Although I've heard rumors that they're going to do an indie thing at the end of the month.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, like a lot of people that are in the, like much more frequently trying to look into things like us, or the more hardcore fans are going to see stuff there, but yeah, there's still a big swath of people who don't watch any of that stuff, who have a Switch, that yeah, like they're not going to find out about those indie games unless it's being promoted in the store,
Yeah, I mean, in the coming soon section for Switch, I mean, they do a pretty decent job. Like Unbound is promoted in there, Blaster Master 03 is promoted in there. I mean, there's games that are promoted in the coming soon stuff, like the Falconeer is coming to Switch, so that looks neat. Dreamscaper looks like a cool puzzle type game that's coming to Switch. So I mean, there's enough of that in there. I wish they had like a featured, like where they have featured, they could have like a I guess like a AAA version and because like when you go down to the best sellers list, there's like an all games and then a download only game section on the Switch. Like I feel like in featured you could have like, oh, here's 3 tabs. Here's the best Nintendo published games. Here's the best indies, and here's the best, third party / whatever, free to play, whatever. Like.
That like giving the option to kind of filter stuff out without you having to physically type in something in a filter. Would be a good fix for that, I think. Yeah. And that's that's something that even like you said, Xbox is doing a decent job of kind of trying to promote stuff, but yeah, like even the third party stuff, or I mean the indie stuff outside of the ID at Xbox stuff, like they could still have, but I think that's the whole thing, is they kind of when they talked about the ID at Xbox stuff, is they're trying to really work with people to make it not as hard, not as difficult to get their stuff out there. And I think, maybe that's just it. It's still in an infancy stage where more and more developers, as they learn about what ID at Xbox is, then and opt into that, it will grow. But because I mean, it's still fairly early thing where it's really just starting to pick up the ID at Xbox stuff.
Yeah, and like I wonder, not to like be negative about this either, is like I wonder, once Microsoft's first party games start coming out at an even pace, how much the indie scene is going to change on Xbox. I wonder if like they'll use indies to fill the space. I wonder if they'll keep promoting indies the way they do. I mean, I feel like they would, just because
Mhm.
like I don't see Xbox leadership going anywhere right now, right? Because Sarah Bond was on that Windows 11 thing, and she's the head of partnerships and whatever. I feel like she's staying. Like, to me, she's like, if Phil Spencer ever decides to retire or leave, she's going to be the one to step in.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like there's not really a question about that.
Well, and don't they have, I think they have like a whole cast of members that kind of focus on the ID at Xbox stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, like I mean, Matt Booty's head of first party.
Yeah.
I think Sarah Bond is their third party and indie relations person. I want to look this up because it's bothering me now.
And because I feel like, I feel like if they do kind of like what Nintendo has done and have those shows more frequently, the ID at Xbox, events where they, like where they have the videos of kind of promoting the latest stuff that, that's joining the ID at Xbox, lists or whatever you want to call it. Like, I think that even that would be, like, so, because like I think the thing is too, like, a lot of that information is out there, but I feel like sometimes it's a little hard to know like where to go, like with things. But I feel like they also, like, on the, even like if you just follow like the Xbox YouTube page, like they do the like this week on Xbox, or like the Major Nelson stuff where he's constantly bringing up games and things to look out for as well. Like there's a lot of information there, but it's almost like if you don't follow the Xbox YouTube page, that a lot of that stuff you'll miss.
Yeah.
But so yeah, definitely if you're listening right now, go follow their YouTube page, because there's like every day it feels like there's like 15 new videos posted up of new games or whatever, new footage of games or new things that they're promoting or whatever. There's always like just an infinite constant streaming line of content on their YouTube page, promoting or showing off new stuff that's coming out or is out or whatever. So definitely a good place to go look, so you can fall down that rabbit hole super easy of just watching videos there.
Yeah.
So all right, well, I think we'll end it there for now. So I think we got a nice good chunk of stuff in there. So all right, Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at I am Corey HC on Twitter. You can find me on the Boss Rush podcast, Nintendo Pal Block, Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast, and doing other things here. So
all right.
Yeah.
And you can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS. So we're gonna throw the X up because we're about to exit. Have a good night.
Goodbye, everybody.